Hey guys, welcome back to Trimmings by WC. In today's video, I will show you how I cut my project material on my Cricut Maker and assemble this Gucci inspired card. Please check out my previous videos if you would like to know how I created this template. If you would like to purchase the template, please visit my website, trimmingsbywc.com. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Hi guys, so before we go on to make it, I did realize that I made a mistake on the last video when creating the template. I did miss one step, which is we need to flatten the pattern onto the paper. So let's go ahead and start with the first one. We're going to select that. It's actually already ungrouped. So we're going to select what we attached. We don't have to select them individually. We can just select attached because they're already together. And what we need to do is flatten that. Okay, flatten it, go to arrange, send to back, and it's all good. So let's put everything back together, select it all, and group. Then let's do the same with the next one. So all right, then let's make sure we save. All right, then let's go ahead and select Make It. This has now sorted our project into mats. So this is just showing you not necessarily how many mats you'll need. You can use one mat, but this is how many times you'll have to load paper or material onto the mat and cut it in the machine. So as you can see here, since we selected our background to be gray, that's the color it's going to print out on a white piece of paper. So I actually don't like to do it that way, but if this is the way you want to do it, that is completely fine. If you just want to put in a white sheet of paper and let it print out the gray background with the black logo over it, that's great. But I'm going to actually use gray paper. So just because of that, I'm going to cancel. And I'm coming back here and I'm going to select the background and I'm just going to change it to white. So that way it doesn't print any type of background. Okay, so you can also see here on the side, it tells you what everything is, what type of cut everything is. So it shows you here that the first one is the print and cut. And this is your 3 tabs here with your Gucci logo on it. The next one here is our gray background. So that's why it's showing on a gray mat. The next one here is our silver logo. Mat number 4 is our black borders. Mat number 5 are our 3 red strips. And mat number 6 are our 3 green strips. So one trick that I like to do that I'm sure I learned on YouTube is I don't like everything to be so separate. I like to put everything on one mat if I'm able to. So I'm going to go to the green mat just because it's the last one, and I'm going to combine it with the red one. And this is how we're going to do that. So each item, when it's selected, it has 3 dots here on the side, and then it has this little curved arrow where you can rotate. What we're going to do is select the 3 dots to the left. We're going to select Move Object, and this brings up each mat. So our mat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can see underneath the 6th mat it says Current because that's where we're moving from. And I'm going to select that to go on the red mat. And I'm going to select Confirm. Okay. Now our strip under here, we want to find that one. Here we go. Maybe a little harder to see just because we're on the red now. But I found what's supposed to be the green stripe, and it is going to show up as red now, but don't worry about that because this is just depending on the color of the material that you put on the board. So as long as we put green material where we're laying these bigger stripes, it's going to be green and not red. So let's go back so we can move our other 2. Now I think what I also want to do is move my logo. So same thing, we're going to select mat number 3, which is where our silver logo is. Select the green dots, move object. We're going to select mat 5 again, which is the red, and confirm. All right, so let's take our logo and move it down here below the 8. You see here we have everything we're going to need. We have a ruler. I've got 2 pairs of scissors because just depending on what size I'm cutting, I'm more comfortable with smaller scissors, sometimes bigger scissors, whatever. My pen here so it can help me out with my measurements. So let's start with our red strips. Glitter cardstock. So let's go ahead and mark that. I'm going to mark it on the back. Okay, so now that we have all of our material cut out, we are ready to continue. One thing that I do want to point out is that you need to place these on the mat exactly how you have them on the diagram here on the template, because you don't want to, if you put them in a different spot, it's not going to cut out properly. And you want to remember how much space that we left between each one here. So we know that we need to go from 1 to 3 for the red stripes, from 4 to 7 on the green stripes, and from 8 to 10 for the silver. Once you have the material on your mat, go ahead and select continue. Our machine is going to connect up here. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and select glitter cardstock for this one. And I do want to note one thing. It's opening up and starting at mat number 4 because that's what we had selected when we went to continue. If we had went back up to the top and had mat number 1 selected when we hit continue, then that's where it would have opened up. But I want to go ahead and do mat number 4 first, just because we have those 3 different color materials on there. Now, since one of our materials is glitter cardstock, that's what I'm going to select because I don't think it will have an effect or have any type of negative effect when cutting the regular cardstock. I like to go ahead and do the more for pressure just to make sure that we cut all the way through the glitter cardstock. All right, then we're going to go over to our machine and load the mat. Okay, so now that we have our mat loaded, I'm going to go ahead and select fast mode. And then I'm going to press the flashing C to get started. All right, now that we're back on mat number 1, this is our print and cut mat. So we're going to select send to printer. It should show whatever printer that your laptop, computer, tablet, whatever is connected to. I'm going to unselect add bleed, and I'm going to select use system dialog. And that's going to allow us to use the dialog box that comes up with your actual computer system. Once that opens up here, and sometimes it'll open behind, I've been told that, but mine never does. I'm using an HP Envy with the Windows 11. So I'm going to select preferences. This will be different, you know, for different devices. I'm going to select paper quality. I like to select glossy paper. I don't know, for some reason, I just like how it comes out that way. I think it prints at a better quality than just selecting best. I'm going to select best for the quality always. I'm going to select OK. Then I'm going to select print. So now that we have our sheet printed out, we're going to go ahead and select heavy cardstock, because our cardstock, the cardstock that I'm using is more than 100 pounds. So I'm going to select heavy cardstock. And just from experience and using this cardstock, I know that leaving it at the default for pressure is just fine. So we're going to leave that. We're going to load our mat. Okay, now that we're all done cutting all of our material, we want to select done, and that will take us back to our canvas. And then we're going to get started putting everything together. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces cut out. We've got our 3 black borders. We have our plain white sheet that was supposed to be gray. We have our 3 small red strips, our 3 bigger green strips, our 3 cuts that have the Gucci print on them, and our Gucci logo that we'll put together. All right, so let's get started. We're going to need glue, which I use the Tacky glue here, and we're going to use double-sided tape. Sometimes I use double-sided tape from the Dollar Tree, but I went ahead and bought a lot of this Scotch tape, which I like a lot, but I did also like using the one from Dollar Tree because it was thinner strips. But, you know, use whatever you like. I do prefer to use the double-sided tape for specific things, which I'll show you as we go along, because, you know, sometimes glue can get a little gunked up and look a little messy or lumpy on the paper. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start by putting our borders onto the cuts. And actually, there's one more thing I forgot. Baby wipes here. I keep those just because I get a little messy with the glue. To go ahead and start with the borders here. This is the way I like to do it. I use my glue. I usually have to hold it upside down for a moment just so it gets all the way to the top. All right, then I start by just adding a dab in the corners and then just going across very lightly, because you don't want to put too thick a layer of glue, because then it will spread and smear. And that's why I also like to go through and just dab a little. This is one of the reasons that I use the baby wipes. So we're going to pick that up here. We are going to take the border, place it on top, and just adjust it to where it needs to be so the bottom and the sides line up. So that looks good. And it looks like I didn't need to put so much on the corners, because the corners, if we flip it over, are not being covered too much. But you see here, you can tell that it's lined up because this is not outside of that line at all. So that's good. Let's go ahead and flip that upside down, sit it in the corner here and let it dry. And we're gonna move on to this one. And this one here, I actually am going to add the red and green stripe first. And for this one, you see there's a small difference in the height. This one on top is maybe like a 1/4 inch shorter than the others. This is the one that goes on the flap. And the same for the red stripes. The one that's smaller, put them together. The one that's smaller is the one that's going to go here. So what I'm also going to do is take my ruler here from earlier. I'm going to place it on the edge here so I can see where the middle is. The green stripe goes down first. So it looks like that's about the middle there. And I'm not going to use the glue. This is where I'm going to use my double-sided tape. The flap, the front and the back. Okay. Now what we're going to do is add them onto our blank sheet here. So I'm going to start with the top. And I want to line that up and put that on here. It looks like it may be a little wide, so we may have to remove some, which is not a problem. And again here, we're using our double-sided tape. We're not going to use the glue. Now let's align this up. I want to make sure that it's covered at the tip. I'm going to go ahead and spread it out. If there's any white showing, and this is why I usually like to use the same sheet of paper. I didn't realize I was out of my gray paper, so that you can't really tell. And we don't want to use the black unless you have an ink pen or a marker maybe that will show up on black, you know, then that would be fine to do black. But so now what we want to do is fold this over evenly. Okay. So our edges are meeting up there. That's good. It looks like this left side, there's a bit of white still showing. So when we put the other ones on, we want to line it up to this side because we can remove some of this white once we get it on here. All right, so that's that. So I'm going to flip it over now. This is the front flap. I'm going to flip it over to the back. Now one of these was a little off. I believe it's this one. So I'm going to make this one the back flap. And remember, we're going to line up to, when we were on this side, it was the right side. Now that we flipped it, it's the left side that we want to line up. Okay, so we've got it all folded here. Here's our flap. We open it up. There's the front. Open it up to the inside. Fold it back. Got the back of the card. Okay, so now what we want to do is add our logo. Okay, now it did come a little separated. I think that's good. Gonna just dab this one here a little, clean off the side. All right, but other than that, we just need to trim a little on the side and we're all good. I hope that video was helpful for you. If you have any questions or advice for me, please leave a comment below. To purchase this template and more, please visit trimmingsbywc.com. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. God bless.